and go, they can go. But inshallah, this is, we've organized this so that in case anyone has questions, inshallah, the questions can be answered as well. So the first thing we start with, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recited a verse in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may achieve taqwa. So our main goal, inshallah, in this month of Ramadan that is coming, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may Allah bless us to see the moon tomorrow and be able to complete the full fast, inshallah, and be able to stand in the nights of Ramadan and worship to Him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us this taqwa. Truly, the month of Ramadan is, this is one of the main goals, to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, we know one of the pillars of Islam in this month of Ramadan is fasting. And fasting, we want to do in the best way possible, as this was given to us. For one of the main reasons is to gain that taqwa. Right? So we go a little bit over the technical, and inshallah some of the spiritual benefits we'll go over. If we cannot cover today, inshallah tomorrow in the khutbah, we can discuss a little bit of the spiritual benefits. Right? What do we gain from fasting? And truly, as some of the scholars have said, that fasting is a madrasah of taqwa. It's a madrasah, it's a learning. It's where we practice how to gain this taqwa. Right? And taqwa is basically doing all that which can bring the pleasure of Allah and abstaining from everything that can cause Allah's displeasure, from inwardly and outwardly. Right? Because if we just have outwardly, then in that case, our iman is not complete. But it has to be both inwardly and outwardly. So we began here, we're going to talk a little bit about the definition. As-siyam, right? And one of the definitions of as-siyam is to abstain, to stay away, right? Abstain, and literally in the terms of Sharia, as we see here, abstaining from food, drink, and intimacy for a certain period of time, with the intention of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is literally what fasting is. So if a person doesn't have the intention, then that fast is not complete. And this is basically what it is, abstaining. And as we can see, this is abstaining from the halal, not the haram. This is abstaining from that which Allah has made lawful for us. But if we can stay away from that which is lawful for us, then by extension, inshallah, that we can stay away from that which Allah has also forbidden, it would become easy for us. This is hence the practice. Then there are certain things in the month of Ramadan that are actually, then we look at who are the people that should be fasting. Okay, every adult male or female, physically, mentally healthy, and that is not a traveler. And any woman that is not in her menses. Okay, so all of these people, the fasting is followed upon all of those people. So then who is taken out? The prepubescent is basically those children that are not baligh. Okay, those that have not attained maturity. And maturity can come through different signs. And if the signs are not all apparent, or they have not come, then in Islam, there's an age that after this age, the child is considered, or the kid is considered mature. Anybody know what that age is? Yes? No. Good guess. Anybody can tell me? 12, 14? So the age that Islam has given us is 15. That once the child is 15 years old, whether the child seems like as if he has the signs of maturity, he's not a child anymore now, he is baligh, and now everything that he does, he will be rewarded, or he will be basically given the award of whatever good or bad that he does. Okay? So that means before 15, or before a child has reached bulugh, then the person's rewards are going to who? They're going to his parents, but he will also see the effects of those good things. Okay? So then what's the point of fasting if it's not counted? Right? The question is, why fast if it's not fard on me? Because everything takes practice. You cannot start something all of a sudden. And the Prophet ﷺ, hence he told us that muru awladakum bis-salah wa hum encouraged enjoin upon your children to pray when they're how old? 7. When they're 7. You start encouraging them. You don't pull them, you don't force them, you encourage them. You show them how you're praying, and you have a little musalla for them, and you engage in your prayer throughout the day, whether you're coming for salah with jama'ah, whether you're at home. When the child sees the parents are both praying, automatically the child starts to understand that, you know what, even my parents, they need someone to call on to. It's not them that are providing, it is the one they're calling on to. Anyways, so once the child reaches 10, then you discipline the child to make sure that they are praying. Why all of this before they reach adulthood? So that by the time they're 13, they're 12, they're 14, they're 15, whenever they become baligh, they're already into the habit and it becomes easy. Similarly with fasting, we try to get them to start fasting. But the thing with fasting is that the child is too young, then you cannot force them. You start them off, weekend fasting, 1 day, 2 days, then maybe half-day fast, and like that we encourage them until they become older and it's easier for them. Fasting is not further on those who are considered insane. If a person has lost the sanity, they don't have to fast. Fasting is not further on those who have a debilitating illness, okay, deemed by a doctor that prevents fasting. Any type of illness in that sort, then they are excused, okay? The second thing here is intention. Intention of fasting. When do we make intention, and what is dahwatul kubra? So, intention and fasting. You have to make intention before each fast in order to make it count, okay? Every day we have to make an intention. If a person stays away from all those things that break one's fast without intention, the fast will not be valid. So therefore we understand that intention is part of the deed. Now, does it mean we have to say it verbally every day? No, you don't have to say it verbally. For a person to just do an action like getting up for suhoor is already the intention. Or you're waking up a little bit before Fajr to take a little bit of the pre-dawn meal is already an intention already in your mind. So you don't have to make the intention every day verbally, but you still have to make an intention or do an action that says that you're making intention in your heart, okay? Without any intention, that becomes problematic, and there's a timeline, and that's what we're going to discuss in this next slide here. The time for intention starts from Maghrib. Right now, if I want to fast tomorrow, my intention is from right now all the way till Dahwatul Kubra, which is midday of the next day. Okay, Dahwatul Kubra, from the word duha. So Ahmed wants to fast on Tuesday. When can he make his intention? As you guys can see, from Maghrib, Monday, or Isha, Monday, till the next day, Fajr. Let's say I woke up for Fajr, let's say I missed my suhoor, I missed Fajr, I missed everything. I was so tired, had such a long day, and maybe, may Allah forgive, sometimes it happens. But I woke up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock. And you know what? I'm like, man, it's Ramadan, I'm fasting. Just that reminder itself is the intention. So now you made intention. And that's good enough. Up till Dahwatul Kubra, which is midday, before Dhuhr. Okay, if I made that intention up till then, it counts. If I did not make intention even up till then my fasting, is not good. Alright? What is Dahwatul Kubra? Exactly midday. The time midday between the beginning time of Fajr and the beginning time of Maghrib. So in between. Fajr starts at 4, for example. Maghrib's at 9. Midday is 12:30. So 17 hours from the start, from Fajr, start to Maghrib. That's just 8.5 hours is exactly half a day. So midday, basically, that's how we calculate that. So we try to have that intention before then. Okay? Question. Ahmed woke up to partake in suhoor. Ahmed woke up for suhoor. He forgot to make intention. Will his fast be valid? Yes. His fast won't be valid? Anybody else have any other? Yes. It will be valid. Why will it be valid? Because he got up for suhoor. He didn't make the intention verbally. That's what we're saying. You don't have to say, بِصَوْمِ غَدًا نَوَيْتُ. And by the way, that's not a dua, by the way. That's just an Arabic saying. We say that because what does that mean? We're saying we intend to fast tomorrow, inshallah. That's literally what we're saying. So this is why we tell everybody to say it. So you remind yourself that you have an intention. But if you don't say it, but you wake up for suhoor, why did you wake up for suhoor? Because you want to fast. That's good enough as an intention, okay? Next thing, what are the mustahab? What does mustahab mean? Anybody know what mustahab means? Who can tell me mustahab? Mustahab. So it has the word hub in it. Hub. Hub means to love something. To like something, to love something. So mustahabbat are all those deeds which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Okay, so we should try to do these. Sayyidina Abu Darda radiallahu anhu reported, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 3 things are from the characteristics of the prophethood. To hasten to open the fast means to rush to open the fast. To delay the suhoor, the pre-dawn meal. And to place the right hand over the left hand in salah. Okay, these are all 3 things from the qualities of the prophethood. So, we'll explain later what this means. Hasten to fast means as soon as the adhan is called, now you can eat. You can break your fast. That means that you shouldn't be praying first, do the salah first, relax, and when you're feeling good, then you eat. No. The sunnah was to adhan, break your fast, salah, and then you continue on with the rest of your deeds, right? And then to delay the suhoor does not mean 5 minutes before adhan. Delay suhoor does not mean that. Delaying suhoor means to do it at the last portion of the night. Okay, that's the big issue there. Then people bring the hadith to continue to eat. If you have water, if you have something in your hand and you hear the adhan, then finish the drink. Have you guys heard the hadith? Finish the drink. Well, the problem with this is one of the most misunderstood hadith. The adhan that the Prophet ﷺ is talking about is the adhan of Bilal radiallahu anh, and not the adhan of Abdullah ibn Maktoum. The adhan of Bilal was called way before Fajr. This was the adhan of tahajjud basically, to wake up. Right? To wake up, meaning, this was the adhan in between suhoor and Fajr. So this was the adhan long before the Fajr adhan, okay? So, in other words, do it in the last portion of the night and not like 2 minutes before the actual Fajr Salah. And we'll discuss that a little bit more in detail. So the next thing, Zayd ibn Thabit relates, the Prophet ﷺ would stand up to offer Salah after eating his food. And the timing between the start of Fajr and when the Prophet ﷺ would stop eating was equivalent to the recitation of 50 verses. Okay? How long would it take to recite 50 verses? You guys can kind of, understand that. Then we ask the question, which surah has 50 verses? Let's see here. I was going to check that. Which surah of the Quran has 50 verses or close? Surah? Okay, here it says Surah Qaf has about 45. And Surah Al-Mulk we know has 30. Okay? Surah Mulk, Surah Mulk, the one we're supposed to read at night, has 30. So if that takes you at least 10 minutes to read, then you can understand from there. Okay? Even if it takes you 5-6 minutes. I would say 50 verses could probably take 10 minutes or around that time. Maybe less. Depends. Alright, next. Recommended acts. Okay? So based on the hadith that I mentioned, partake in suhoor. You should not eat the night before and stuff yourself and say, that's it, I'm done, and then skip the suhoor and get up for fajr. You miss all of the barakah. The Prophet ﷺ said, تَسَحَّرُوا فَإِنَّ فِيهِ الْبَرَكَةِ. To do the suhoor because there's a lot of barakah and blessing in the suhoor. So don't miss it. You're missing all of the blessing. Break fast immediately at the time of Maghrib. And another recommended act is to make intention at night. Okay? Now, the best thing to break your fast with is what? Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu reported the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would break the fast with fresh dates, okay, which are, mashallah, in California, readily available. Alright, so we should not be able to miss out on this. Fresh dates before performing the salah. If there was no fresh dates, then he would break the fast with dried dates. And if there were no dried dates, then he would take a few sips of water, which we can all do. So it is a sunnah, and I would say it is mustahab to eat fresh dates. Okay, one of the most healthiest and best of foods that we can have. All right, next thing. What are the makruhat? So the makruh is the total opposite of mustahab. Mustahab means those things you love, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Makruh is that has the word kariha, karahat, which means disliked or detestable, not liked at all. These are the things we should totally stay away from. They're not haram, but they're close to haram, and they're very disliked. Why do something that is disliked? So what are they? To chew gum, okay, rubber, plastic items, any of those things. We should not. Why? Because you are chewing. You're supposed to make sure that you don't put anything in your mouth, okay? To collect one's saliva in the mouth and then swallow it, trying to quench thirst, okay? So why would somebody do that? People do that. You're collecting saliva in your mouth and you're trying to swallow. And I'm telling you, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives strength. In the month of Ramadan, it could be the hottest days, the longest days, and you could talk all day. And it's a miracle from Allah that He gives you the strength to be able to last and not really. It's different issue if you have like a medical issue. People are different, but the normal, healthy person, a standard healthy person, will never have to do that. There's a little bit of hardship in the beginning. You feel it sometimes. It's all in the brain. Like the first 2-3 days, oh my God, I can't eat or drink anything. It's just in the head. You'll see how easy it becomes when you're just a little bit patient. And this is why fasting also makes us patient. Okay? So try not to do that. To delay a bath that has become obligatory intentionally until after Fajr time. So somebody has to take a bath. Okay, they reached puberty, adult, they have to take a bath, but they delay it until after Fajr or until the Fajr time has already come in. It's makruh, but the fast counts. Okay? To use toothpaste, tooth powder to cleanse one's teeth. It is permitted to use a miswak of any permissible fresh branch or root tooth stick. Okay? So why is this makruh? Is this makruh before you start fasting? No. We are supposed to, what's recommended is you brush your teeth with your toothpaste right before you start your fast. Okay? If you've done that, then you're good to go. Now the next thing you need is a fresh miswak or anything close to a fresh miswak. If you know people coming from Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of people, they're coming back. You can ask your friends or family to bring you fresh toothsticks. And have one of those at the time in the morning. You can use that all day. Even if you feel like there's some taste there. Even if it feels like there's something, like you taste something, but that's fresh and it's sunnah and that's what's recommended. If you use the miswak properly, you will not have, your breath will stay pretty well. You might get a smell later on in the day because of hunger, but throughout the day you'll be okay and you'll be able to last. Okay? All the people that say no, we can't do it without it, they can do without it. It's not necessary, believe me. You guys can try that out. To complain of hunger and thirst, okay? It's makruh. Everybody's fasting along with you. You're not the only one. And sometimes very young children also try to fast. So if they can do it, we can do it. Allah has made it easy. Don't ever complain of the hunger or thirst. To take water too much up the nostrils when cleaning the nose. We have to be careful. You're making wudu, you can put them up the nose, but just slightly. Nobody has to do it so much that it goes up the nose. To gargle more than necessary. Again, nobody has to make this perfect wudu of putting water in your mouth and gargling so much. You don't have to do it. To quarrel, to argue, to use filthy, indecent words. Okay, you basically lose all the reward of fasting. Backbiting, lying, swearing, sinful acts, any of those things become worse. They're already bad outside of fasting. They become worse when a person is fasting. Alright, so we've done the mustahabbat, we've done the makruhat. Now we're going to talk about the invalidators, those things which break the fast. Alright, what is the criteria? Anything with a perceptible body can invalidate a person's fast, okay? Anything that can go inside a normal human body, it reaches, number one, if it reaches the stomach or the brain, okay? If it reaches the stomach or the brain, it breaks the fast. If it enters the body via the mouth, nose, or private parts, okay, those are normal channels, then it will break the fast. Okay, two types of invalidators. Number one, that because of which necessitates a qada, you have to make up, and the other one is it necessitates a qada and a kafara. Okay, qada means you basically have to make up for that one day that you missed. Okay, and a kafara is basically not only do you have to make it up, but you have to, because it's you intentionally broke the fast. Then kafara is to, we'll talk about kafaras coming up. There's certain things you have to do. What are the things that necessitate only a qada? What things if you do, you have to make up that fast after Ramadan? What things? Number one, eating and drinking accidentally. Okay? Now let me explain that. You accidentally eat, but then you think to yourself, oh, you know what? Man, I broke my fast. So you keep eating. You said to yourself, I broke my fast, so you keep eating and drinking. Now you have to make that up. If you accidentally forget to eat and drink, and then when you remember you stop, then it's okay. It is, the hadith comes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fed this person, so don't worry about it. If it's an accident, it's an accident. But then to keep eating, okay, that's the problem. Forgetfully eating and drinking and thinking that the fast has broken. Thinking Maghrib entered, but it didn't. That's a big problem. Okay, and you know what the problem is? All of those people that have the adhan on their phones, those people are responsible. Those people need to change, and I'm going to make an announcement. Anytime we have the big iftars in the community, those people need to shut their phones. Because the phone sometimes sounds like it's the real thing, and all of a sudden they actually broke their fast. Wallahi, this is not like, oh, Allah is most merciful. No, you did not take care of the time, especially in this day and age. How could you not have known the time, right? So that's the issue. We cannot eat until the proper time has come in, and that's why we even tell the muaddin to wait a few seconds, even 20, 30 seconds after the time, just so we know that we did not, do it early. The next thing is thinking Fajr hasn't started and continuing to eat. This is the same thing. You're continuing to eat, adhan is already going on or already happened, that's too much. That you have to make up that fast, okay? Have to make up that fast. All right. Again, mouth and throat. You guys can read this. I can go over really quickly. Swallowing a pebble, anything people wouldn't typically eat. Swallowing water by accident when gargling for wudu or ghusl. Okay? Now this actually breaks your fast. So wait a minute, it was by accident. Yes, but we're letting everybody know. It's a reminder. When you're making wudu, be careful. Do not gargle to that extent. Do not put water in your mouth so it might go down the throat. Be careful. If it goes down, the fast is broken. You have to make it up. Swallowing blood that exits from the gums and is more than the saliva. So if somehow you got hurt, there's an injury and you're bleeding like crazy, then you can put more water in your mouth to get that blood away, but don't, swallow, and you can wash it out. Swallowing toothpaste or mouthwash. This is the reason why we're told not to brush with toothpaste or mouthwash during fasting, because it can go down the throat. And we don't know. We're not 100%. It could happen sometime. Why risk your fast? Vomiting and thereafter thinking that the fast is broken to deliberately vomit again. So if you vomit by accident or you're not able to control it, that's a different scenario. Okay? It's a different scenario. But doing it yourself, or you're vomiting so much that it's uncontrollable and then some of that goes down your throat, then it is an invalidator. Okay? The nose. Water used to clean the nose for wudu ghusl reaches the throat or the brain. You put water down your nose too much and it goes down your throat, fast is broken. Inhaling medicine into the nostrils. So remember, the nose and inhaling, it breaks your fast. Inhaling smoke by one's own doing, on the condition one's body doesn't benefit from it. So inhaling smoke, okay? Or a person is smoking, either one of those things. Or inhaling anything to do with the nose in these kind of situations, you have to make up the fast, okay? If anybody has a question, they can ask towards the end. We're going to try to conclude this. We're going to finish this. Just remember your questions, okay? What necessitates a qada and a kafara? Now, what are these things that not only do you have to do a qada, but you have to do a kafara And then the next slide will tell us how do we do a kafara. In principle, if a person purposely breaks his fast in Ramadan without a valid reason, shari'i reason, through eating, drinking, or engaging in intimacy, then he will have to make up the broken fast after the month of Ramadan and also observe a kafara. What is a kafara? To fast 60 days consecutively. 60 days in a row. 6-0. Okay, so this is a serious matter. And even if a person does fast 60 days, one of the hadith mentioned, the Sahih hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that if a person was to eat or drink in the month of Ramadan or break their fast purposely, even if they fasted their whole life after that, they still cannot make up for how blessed and how rewarding that one day of Ramadan is. So you have to be very careful. Now, 60 days consecutive, if the 60 days are fast are not kept consecutive, a person will have to start all over again. If I fasted like 58 days and the next day I didn't fast, I have to start all over again. If a woman experiences menstruation during these days due to which she is not able to fast, it will not be regarded as discontinuity. So she can fulfill, the time can go by and then she can continue. It will still be considered as if it was consecutive. All right? If a person cannot fast 60 days, not everybody can do that, then what? Feed 60 poor people 2 meals a day, or one person 2 meals for 60 days. Okay? That can happen. It should be noted that the above mentioned is the order in which a person will have to give his kafara. Okay? So it goes in order like this, because not everybody is capable of fasting. If a person is sick or old age, then the other methods can be used. First, qada will be made. All of the things, the fast have to be made up, and then the kafara will begin. Okay? Alright, let's continue. This is done. Non-invalidators. Okay, these things will not break the fast. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported the Prophet, Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever forgets he is fasting and eats or drinks, let him complete his fast, for it is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu who has fed him and given him to drink. Now, the question is, how do you know you forgot? Well, you'll remember later. You were already eating something. And some people remember a minute after, and some people, they don't remember until an hour, or maybe I have a friend who ate an entire meal, had a whole dinner at a restaurant, came out, oh, I'm fasting. I was like, you are so lucky. So had an entire meal, and you remember it now. How can you do that? It's not up to us. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes makes us forget things that's out of His mercy. Allah is most merciful. You understand? So this is a blessing. So you cannot say that that person is blameworthy. All right? What does not break the fast? Swallowing one's own saliva. After washing your mouth, if there's any wetness, after making wudu, if there's some wetness in your mouth and you swallow, that's fine. Sniffing up mucus, even if it descends to the throat, that's not a good habit, but if it happens, your fast is there. Inhaling smoke or dust unintentionally, you were passing by somewhere, someone is smoking, or there's some construction work going, there's some smoke, dust or whatever, it's fine. Starting the fast in the state of major ritual impurity, it's okay. Injection, blood transfusion, kidney dialysis, glucose or saline drips, okay? None of those things will break the fast. You can continue to fast. Actions that don't, okay, continuing. Blood test, cupping, dry cupping, wet cupping, any form of blood extraction does not break your fast. Tooth extraction subject to not swallowing the blood or medicine. So if you're able to hold it, which many people are, and you could spit out, then you're good. But if you're not able to, and you end up swallowing the blood and medicine, then you have to make up. That's why it's better you go, if you need to go to dentist, try to do it before or after Ramadan. If you cannot wait, then, Using the CPAP, basically, for those people who need to use the CPAP, it does not break your fast. Miswak, toothbrush. Toothpaste should be avoided. Again, I'm not giving a fatwa here. Some people have allowed it. But again, just because the taste could be tasted and it could go down your throat, it's better that you stay away. Swimming, as long as you don't swallow the water. Tasting food, provided not swallow. Now, I just want to be clear here. The tasting food part is usually for certain people. It's not for everybody. Like you just go around and start tasting stuff. No, that's not what it's meant here. What's meant here is if somebody's cooking food and you want to make sure that it doesn't taste horrible and it has taste, then for like a sister, wife, or anyone to do that, just really quick and then washing out the mouth, that's a different situation. We're not talking about tasting foods here. All right. Nicotine patches does not break your fast. All right. Now about the vomiting part, you can see the chart here. If it's intentional, then as long as it's not a mouthful, okay, mouthful means that you're not able to hold it back. Like you're not able to hold it. Like sometimes people, they cough and they feel like they're about to throw up and they spit out and there's only a little bit that comes out. That's considered not a mouthful, which means the fast is still valid. If the person is not able to hold it and the whole mouth basically is filled and then the person's fast is. If it's unintentional, it doesn't matter. What is intentional? You basically make yourself self-induced, okay? Self-induced vomiting, basically. Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu narrated, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, 3 things do not break the fast: cupping, vomiting, and the wet dream. Okay? These things do not break the fast. Question: how does one decide when vomiting is a mouthful? How does one decide? Yes. MashaAllah. Good. Good job. So the definition of mouthful one is that which one cannot hold back in one's mouth without difficulty. Good job. You're listening very carefully. MashaAllah. What's your name? Zach. Short for Zakaria? Zaki. MashaAllah. Yes. What's your name? Wet dream is something when a person becomes baligh, when a child becomes an adult. So they have to take a shower. Okay? Alright. You'll learn that as you get a little bit older. A little amount of vomit went up my throat. Then as a reflex action, it went back down. I felt I had no control over it. Does my fast break? Does it not? No, your fast will not break, okay? Again, all of this is not intentional. It's happening. Alright, couple of questions as we're finishing. Can I swallow bits of food left between my teeth? Sometimes you're praying Fajr and you have food in your mouth still. Like between your teeth you have these big, that's why we should do, we should have, what do you call it? Yeah, not just miswak. Yes, a floss. They're screaming up there to tell me. Have a floss so that you don't have food stuck between your teeth. If the particle is smaller than a chickpea, remember chickpea, everybody knows chickpea? If it's smaller than that, the fast will be okay. If it's bigger than that, and that's a big piece of whatever it is, I don't know why you would have that in your mouth. Let's say you do, and you take it out, and then some people look at it and they like to eat it, which is disgusting, then you have broken your fast. So never do that. Alright? If there's any food stuck in your teeth, get it rid of before you leave the house, or before salah. Does applying eardrops or eye drops break one's fast? Yes or no? Eardrops, eye drops. No? Yes, it does not. Okay, but if regards to the eardrops, if there's a hole in the eardrum, okay, if there's a hole, then it breaks. Most people don't have that issue, so you're okay. Does nasal spray break one's fast? If a person uses a nasal spray, his fast will become nullified. Yes. So the nasal, remember, it's mostly the nose. The ears, the eyes, injections, all of those things are fine. It's the nose because how we are created in that way. It will break it. Consult a doctor, ask whether the same medication can be applied by means of cotton swab to the inner lining of the nose. So if you can put something in through a swab, excuse me, then it'll be okay. If not, then that's an issue. Deodorants and perfumes. Aerosol sprays have a defined body due to the vapors contained therein. If one is not cautious while applying these sprays, it goes down the throat, it will break one's fast. So if you're using sprays, any type of spray, either the body sprays or even the air freshener sprays, any sprays, be careful not to have it near your mouth. If it goes down your throat, yes, it will break. So you have to be careful. You have to be aware. You have to be very aware. Okay? One should exercise caution in using any substance that may jeopardize one's fast. In fact, I would say if you're gonna spray from far away, especially like cologne or anything, spray from a little far away. If you have a mask on, that's fine. Otherwise, use oils. Okay, use oils that you can apply. It'll be better. Smoking, cigarettes, shisha, other items breaks one's fast. Okay, not only qada, kafara as well. So this is serious. So if anybody has a smoking habit, this is the time to break that habit, inshallah. May Allah make it easy for all of us. It's a very, very difficult thing, but it can be done. And if you give it a few weeks, any habit can be broken, inshallah, or any good habit can be inculcated, inshallah. Excuse me. Rules pertaining to asthma pump, okay? Using asthma pump while fasting will break the fast. You would have to make up for it. You don't have to do kafara, obviously. Some people need it. If you really, really need it and you cannot do without it, then you don't really have a choice. Use it, obviously. Don't hurt yourself. Okay? And everybody knows themselves. If a person is incapable of performing qada later, they should pay a fidya. Let's say if we have to use it all those days, then of course it becomes very difficult. That's why people have different situations. There are different rulings for people, but it depends on how bad the situation is, okay? Taking an injection breaks one's fast. Does it break one's fast if I take an injection? Yes. Good job. It does not, okay? It does not break your fast. You can take an injection if you want. What are the scenarios women may face in Ramadan in relation to menstruation, and what should they do? Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha reported that we passed through this period of menstruation and we were ordered to complete the fast later, but we were not ordered to complete the prayers. So they don't complete the prayers, but they complete the fasting. And 3 situations I mentioned. Ramadan has begun in the state of menstruation. She may eat in a manner that no fasting person sees her eating. So it's better not to eat in front of anybody. Obviously, we want to encourage everyone in the home. We're not trying to, so try not, not to eat in front of anyone. Second thing is, it starts during the day. If it starts during the day, she may eat in a manner that again, try not to have everyone see you. And it is incorrect also to refrain from eating, to create the likeness of those who are fasting. So people that say, okay, if a woman has that, it started in the day, she must eat something. She must eat. She should not say, you know what, I'm going to just pretend I'm fasting like everybody else. No, you have to eat. Third situation is it stops during the day. Basically, you complete the cycle. So she must conduct herself like a fasting person and abstain from eating, okay, for the rest of the day. So those are the 3 situations. Does a nursing woman need to fast? Yes. MashaAllah, good job. Does not. All right. If she fears that she or her child's health will be endangered by her fasting, she'll be excused. Same goes for a pregnant woman. It depends on the situation. If you feel like you can do it, then you should do it. If you don't, you may stay away. You have been given a concession. Does one have to perform the qada fast immediately? If I have to make up fast of Ramadan, do I do it right away? No, you do not have to. Okay? It's not necessary, but it's recommended as soon as possible. Why? Because any good deed should not be delayed. And whenever we delay a good deed, we end up losing it and forgetting about it. Okay? Can one combine qada fast with the 6 days of Shawal? Yes. It is permissible. There is a difference of opinion. You can make a second intention, one for the 6 days of Shawwal and the other along with it to make up the fast. You can do that. However, people say to do them separately, but you have the ability to do so if it's easier for you. I've not fasted my whole life. Do I have to make up both qada and kafara? Do I have to give a kafara? No, this person's fasting will never end in his life then. No, only make up for the fast that you have not made. So is it easy to make up fast? Yes, people have made up 5-6 years of fast, 500 fast within of like 4 or 5 years, just on Mondays and Thursdays, like that. And it's easy. You don't have to fast, the whole year. So it's easy. Fasting on an airplane. Should you fast while you're traveling? You don't need to, but you'll get great reward if you do. And nowadays, it's not that difficult, but a person will base his fast on the time zone of the area the plane is currently flying through. Now, if you're flying towards the east, I would definitely try to do it, even in Ramadan. Why? Because I'm gaining, excuse me, the day is moving way faster. So you're going to have like a 3-4 hour fast and it'll count as if you fasted the whole day. You understand that? So you're traveling, and let's say your plane is going over New York. You go according to New York time you started, and as you reach, once it's day, that's it. Once it's Maghrib, then you can open your fast, okay? So you have a very short time. When you're coming backwards this way, then it's a long day. Then I would probably take the, concession. I would take the ease and not have to fast at that time, okay? All right. The exempt. Who are those people who don't have to fast? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so whoever among you is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of days are to be made up. Okay? فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Make up those days that you could not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want difficulty for us. Allah wants ease for us. What is a fidya? It's amount equivalent to sadaqatul fitr given in exchange of fast. Who has to give fidya? Basically someone who's so sick that there's no hope of them getting better, and they have to give fidya. Now, if they do get better, guess what? Let's say they get better from Allah's grace. Do they have to make up those fasts? Yes, they still have to make up those fasts, even if they give fidya. All right? That's basically what it's saying. Some of the du'as that we should recite, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu, when you're breaking your fast. Okay? Oh Allah, I fasted for you, and with your sustenance I completed my fast. There are many different du'as mentioned. You can read any of them. ذهبت الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. The thirst has gone, the veins are moistened, and the reward is established if Allah wills. These are du'as you can read, and that is the end of our presentation. Alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. So these are some of the things about fasting. Other than that, it's really not too difficult. If anybody has any question, you can ask that. Yes. 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 Now, if you really, really need it and you cannot do without it, then just use it. Again, like the main rule is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want you to go through so much difficulty and get sick and hurt yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to gain, become stronger. You understand? And your health should get better in this month of Ramadan. So it's not about putting yourself through punishment. You understand? Ji. Humidifiers. That's a good one. So humidifiers, it depends now. Most of the time it's evaporated already, correct? Yes. Sure. But it's really not coming inside your throat. By the time it reaches you, it's like it's not there. So I would say no. Wallahu alam. That's a good one. I gotta check that out. Ji. Yes, Shasa. MashaAllah. One of the meanings of Ramadan comes from the word Ramadan, which means to burn. Okay, MashaAllah, very good. And that means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala burns the sins of those who are fasting. Very good, MashaAllah. Jazakallah. One of the sayings of Hasan al-Basri. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, I was going to explain this. Very good. So the whole explanation of delaying suhoor, the scholars, our pious predecessors, they would basically finish, let's say, if Fajr is 4:45, by 4:25, they will be done. That's like 20 minutes, maybe sometimes even 30 minutes. They would go by the 18 degree. They will be done. Then what they would do is make wudu, brush, do all of that, pray, and continue to pray. And right before, maybe 10 minutes before, 10, 12 minutes before, they would take some sips of water, and that was it. So that's how they would do. But if that's difficult for us, at least keep a 10, 15-minute gap where you're able to finish by then. But the fact that 5 minutes before, they're just continuously eating, sometimes you don't see the clock. And if adhan goes through, then that's basically too late. You know what I mean? Finish way before. At least we put it on the calendar. At least 10 minutes before you should be done. That's enough time. Yes. 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 ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Right? But that's the whole thing. It's to finish the fast until night. And then it's all about the words in the Quran. So there's a whole discussion on that. And basically, what it comes down to is that knowing what time the Fajr time comes in. But because there's such a difference of opinion, here in America we have between 15 to 17 degree, there's a huge difference of opinion. Not everybody goes out there for a whole year. And the opinion of Mufti Taqi Sahib, Hafidhahullah, excuse me, and others is that it's better to stay towards the 18. Now, if it's difficult for us in this part of the country, which it is for many people, then at least to be on the safe side, because just like Maghrib, right? Just like Maghrib, if you go a little bit before, even 2 minutes before, then you've broken it. You know what I mean? Why not just wait? In a similar way, why not just conclude before hearing a good amount before because here's the thing. If you say something now and the time goes by a few years later, people are going to make it less and less and less to the time where people are going to say, as long as you don't hear the adhan, keep eating. And it'll get worse and worse if we don't put a time limit, right? I'm just getting to the point. There's a lot more to be said, but there's hikmah, wisdom in this. And it is a better time before the adhan of Fajr, it's the time of suhoor, is the best time to pray tahajjud. So if you're finished, just a few minutes before, it's better to engage in salah until the adhan goes on. Otherwise, we've seen it here even. People are eating here, adhan goes on, they're still eating. How are you going to stop that? You have to warn them, you have to. That's a big problem, yes. That's why we're telling everybody, just at least if you do it like 10 minutes before, you keep that in your mind, that I have to finish 10 minutes before. Then even if it's 6, 7 minutes left and you finish drinking, then you're okay. You have to give a 10, 15-minute gap. Give a gap. Look, we just heard the hadith, Sahih hadith. 50 verses by the time the Prophet finished and he started his prayer. So 50 verses is clear hadith. And that 1 or 2 minute is not going to do it, unless somebody can read that fast. So 50 verses. Ji. You could do miswak throughout the day. And if you do it that much, then you can actually, the next day, you could cut that part and, use a new fresh, on that same miswak you're supposed to be using, within a few days, you're supposed to finish that whole miswak. So you use one day, you cut the next day, you like that. It's not the same piece for the whole month. And that's why you're not seeing any, that's why people don't see any different. You're supposed to keep cutting that part so you have fresh every time. And then you can feel it. You know what I mean? The people in Makkah and Medina, the ones they sell on the streets, unbelievable when they cut it and you use those. It makes your mouth so fresh, and sometimes it's almost spicy. It almost feels like, after a mouthwash, it feels that good. All right. Anything else? Have a question? Okay. So, alrighty. I think we're done then, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Jazakallah khairan.